Hey folks, today I'm in Kingston, Tennessee, waiting on Frontier Outdoors USA to open up. I'm actually teaching them how to do an installation of a Torqeedo Ultralight 1103 on a Hobie Pro Angler. But that's not what this video is about. The motor hadn't been delivered here by yesterday morning. That was the original day that I was scheduled to do this. Hadn't shown up yet, so I had a day to kill. That was yesterday, and I found a local river to go hop on and go explore. Ended up with 6 fish, 18 inches or better. Biggest was a 19-incher, and it was dead sticking soft plastics, where I visually identified. I could look out and be like, there's a lot of fish here. Some of them are carp, some of them are freshwater drum, but that's a big smallmouth. And I would back off, anchor up, and lob a soft plastic in there. Mostly the scented jerk shads. I did some palmetto bugs, some I actually got a nice one on a mag fatties. And then I'd switch between that and the finesse jig that I make with the bat wings. Unfortunately, when I got to the hotel room last night, I uploaded what I could. The micro SD card in the GoPro said, sorry, I'm only going to give you some of these files, and it wants to reformat it, which, oh, it's killing me. I had some really great underwater videography of the Deadstick, what that looks like, how it just sits there and pivots in the current back and forth, and how you need to have faith that that will do its job because it's setting a trap instead of enticing a bite. I don't know what I got. I just, in frustration, just said, screw it, I'm gonna shut it all down. I couldn't get it. It just wanted to reformat the card, and you're gonna lose all that stuff. Some of them came through, because some of them I filmed with this camera instead of the GoPro. And some of the GoPro files came through, but I haven't figured it out. I may give you, at the end of that, the partial adventure. But what I want to do right now, while I'm waiting on the shop to open it up, I'm going to pull that black pack out, some of the soft plastics in the lakeside, this is the lakeside sidekick. I don't know. I'm gonna pull stuff out and really just do a rigging video, how I rig this, because I posted some of the stuff on some of the pictures of the fish and one of the videos of the release of the 19-incher, and everyone's asking, how are you rigging these? So let me go through that. I'm gonna pull some baits out, and we're gonna do a real quick rigging video. All right, I just had a seat here with, this is my Lakewood Products sidekick, and this I kind of keep in between my legs on the kayak, and it's got all my treble hook baits here. It's got all my spinner bait, buzz bait, a little bit of everything, and this is sort of my catch-all drawer. Looks like I got a mag draft in there. Liquid Mayhem, leader material, a little bit of everything. This is a pulse fish scrounger head. I'm going to be messing with these a little bit more, but that's a larger scented jerk shad. I didn't do that yesterday, but what I do want to get into is here in my black pack. I'm going to open that up. This is my terminal tackle. And we're going to pull a couple things out of here specific for the rigging the Deadstick soft plastic. That isn't the lightest one, but that's the one I was using yesterday. There is one that's even lighter. If you need a super light touch, that one. I forget what their weights are. They're weird weights, like 5th and 6th ounce. I don't know. You can do them absolutely weightless, but I like some weight because I like it to fall nose down. So I'm going to put that away. These give a very slow rate of fall. I'm going to leave these out, and I'm going to pull one of these chin locks. Not that weight. That one you have to go really, really slow on. This one you can move a little bit faster because it's got more weight. But the one I was using yesterday is sort of, nope, that's the same thing. I think it's this guy. Now I'm going to forget which one I had, but maybe it was that one. Well, we're just going to go over rigging. And with these, you know, with the finesse bullets, which is what that is, and the scented jerk shad, and this isn't the color I was using. I think I was using Houdini, which is also the color color diesel minnow. I did eventually get into covering a lot of ground and just cast and retrieve, but most of the fish I caught yesterday were absolutely dead sticking it. So this may seem like a lot of plastic, and I'm just gathering a little bit there. A lot of plastic for this small of a hook gap, right? Don't you feel like that's going to choke it up? Well, if it was regular plastic and not Elastec, yeah, it would be. But when you fill up, you know, this amount of plastic in that little hook gap, it protects that hook from snags. And I've been doing this with palmetto bugs on the river, or on the reservoirs. It's a real good largemouth, and I've caught smallmouth on it too. But with the scented jerk shad, and that's not, what was that, bad shad? I wasn't using that one. I used the shiner color. I briefly used a redfish toad in the 4-inch, and I pounded the same area. I was using the 5-inch and I switched to the 4, and I actually caught the bigger fish. But that's how I'm rigging it. And what that does is that gets onto the bottom, and the buoyancy of the Elastec just has that tail just kind of wavering in the current. You work an area that has a little bit of current, and it just goes nose down, and let it sit. Don't hop it, jerk it, whatever. Just put it in there. Eventually they're going to grab it and start moving away with it. So that is one, you know, one presentation that I feel super confident in, really year round. But in particular in the summer, when you have an area, and usually it's a deeper area with a lot of you know, a lot of boulders and chunk rock shade, that's going to work for you. Same as my winter fishing. Looks like someone's mowing here, so I better finish up before the audio turns bad. Same rigging I did with the mag fatties on that, the finesse bullets. Very slow rate of fall with a very little bit of weight, and it just rigs tail up like that. With the diesel minnows, I'll pull one of these out. It's a very similar rigging. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do after I'm done just showing you how I'm rigging this. And this is how I'm going to rig them if there's a lot of grass, or even when I'm going into wood. I got to open up that little slit that it's closed up on me. Open that up. After I'm done showing you this rigging, and it's important that they rig straight, what I will do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to string together the footage I have from yesterday. I'm sorry that I've lost so much because I had so much good underwater videography and some really nice, you know, nice catches. I got a number of them on that, but in the heat of the day, in the middle of the day, even throwing this diesel minnow up into shade, my catches were few and far between. Most of my catches were dead sticking with the finesse bullets. Let's watch the rest of what I did get out of the trip yesterday, and hopefully it's enough to help you visualize what I'm doing. One other brief note, if you do need a heavier weight, say if you're fishing deeper on a reservoir, they make the pro rigging bullets, which have more weight on the shank. It also makes it lay down more instead of straight up. This one I'll use with the palmetto bugs, and I forget the weight, but I'm guessing this is close to, I bet it's 3/8. Maybe even closer to a half. It may be a half. It's a lot of weight here. This is not what I'm doing on the river, but fishing this guy in deep grass, yeah, that does the trick. So if you need a rigging with, you know, with more weight than what I just showed you with that Deadstick presentation of the jerk shads and the mag fatties, and you know, this rigging bullet, pro rigging bullets with a heavier weight and a bigger hook is the way to go. Hey folks, I am somewhere in Tennessee. I got sort of a down day in between things I'm doing down this way, and it's a weekday. There is one boat down there. I saw it looks like a guide raft, so maybe someone's guiding this section of river. Nice looking river for sure. I'm gonna zoom up. I'm unfortunately leaving the new Crescent Shoaly behind. I really do want to get this on a river trip, but I'm taking the inflatable, and the inflatable's great for rivers too. But what I'm doing today, I'm going maybe 12 miles up. I don't know. We'll see. I got 2 Torpedo batteries, and I'm gonna zoom and preview and power fish my way up and kind of sample what's out here. But if you look down there, this to me, all that ledge structure, you know, there are deeper sections of the pool, but there's a lot of shallow water. It absolutely reminds me of the Shenandoah. If I can fish it like the main stem Shenandoah, I think I'll do good. Even sort of looks like it with the ridge structure. Anyhow, I got the inflatable there, loaded up, loaded down. I got everything on there. I'm actually a little nervous about leaving. I got the Shoaly cabled up, but there's some other things that could be stolen. Hopefully they don't get stolen, but I took as much stuff as I could with me, just for security's sake. This is a gorgeous river here in Tennessee. I'm gonna go fish it, see what I find. All right, so my spot where I saw the 3, and I says smallmouth, is up that way. And I've drifted down a bit to sort of let it rest. It's that log jam right there, and you go just out from it a little bit, and there's a bedrock that just kind of crumbles into deeper water. So because I'm investing so much time coming back off of it and letting it rest, I have 2 things ready to throw in there, 2 different presentations. One is the scented jerk shad and Houdini on the finesse rigging bullets. That one I can launch in from a further distance back, just because there's significant heft to the bait itself. This one is going to be a slower rate of fall. It's somewhere between 16th and 8th. This is a finesse jig that I made, and I got the bat wings on there. So I got a bait fish presentation and a craw presentation. This one I did with the bristle guard. This was a tough one to pour, and I modified the head. You can actually see the video in the tackle crafting section of the YouTube channel, how I made this particular finesse jig. But let's ease up to that spot. I may actually drop my anchor and hang out so it's there. I may hang somewhere out in the middle and lob in, sort of quartering up from behind it. We'll see how this goes. Okay, got one that I actually watched swim up and hit it. That was cool. Get out of there. Get out of there. Get out of there. It's really cool when you can see them. Oh, there's another big one with it. When you can see them turn on it, open their mouth, flare the gills, and suck it in. This one hit the finesse jig. And, golly, this place is awesome. Hello, Chunky. I got you. I got you. I'll let you breathe. They just keep moving in and out of this spot. It's got the right amount of current, quick access to deep water on either side, and aren't they gorgeous? Chunkers. They got plenty to eat. They have to. I mean, they're all stout, healthy, good looking fish. That's a sticky hook. Another great fish. You know, I think I got a number of them that are, you know, upper 17s. That's what I think this one is. A couple that are just over 18. Yeah, this one's 17 and a quarter. Beautiful fish. We'll get him back in, catch some more. I might not ever leave this particular spot because it keeps reloading with good fish. It's the power of dead sticking in summer. Right, I'm done fishing this spot, even though I saw two more big fish roll in here, but for the sake of teaching and pattern development, we're going to make some observations about this spot. Most of the fish that I caught were centered around, well, there's shallow rock up there. You can see the depth here is maybe 4 feet at most, with like irregularly broken rock, but they're overall centered around you know, this log jam. I think they mix it up in there, but there's this trench here where, you know, you have like 5-6 feet that comes up to 4, and it's real irregular. They're in this lane here leading right up into this log jam. There's a fish. That's a drum. Huh, it's a freshwater drum. There's a lot of carp, and obviously we just saw the drum. That's a big old gar. There's a lot of fish in here, period. And sometimes that's the best way to find these places. You just see a lot of all kinds of fish. Now, if we move down in the pool, there's a lot of deep, slower water. This isn't that deep. There's been a lot of water. Good golly, look at that smallmouth in the middle of that. I'm drifting right up into this log jam. I don't know if any of that's conveying on film, but there was a giant smallmouth that just moved up into there. So shallow stuff here. There's a very dark smallmouth right in there. He's cruising out. He sees me and he started moving. What I was gonna say is there's current here. It's gentle current right where these fish were. Deep water, that's slack, and you can tell by looking at the scum on it that there's a lot of non-moving water below it, and then again above it, it looks like more of the same in terms of water that's not moving real fast. This spot is different. I got one just sitting right there. I gotta throw a jig on him. I gotta put the camera down. That is a big smallmouth right there. 2 of them. So deep, non-moving water above and below, and this is the spot that it gets a little bit shallower and has a little bit of current. That's what these fish are centered around, is a little bit of current in an otherwise deep, slack water pool. Let me see if I can catch him. Do you see him? Centering on him? No. Alright. I don't think it's showing up. Maybe it is. I gotta catch him. Let's take a look at this beautiful Tennessee smallmouth. Yes! Look at the color on him. He liked the mag fatties. Again, giving the fish a different look than they've seen is for sure worthwhile. I didn't get the measurement on that last one, although I think that last one was 18 and a half. God, if I can get this. I am so packed in here tight. I'm gonna not let go of this one. I'm gonna wet the board for you, buddy. Deadstick had been sitting there for minutes, several minutes. Yeah. What are you? In a tournament, you're 18 and a quarter. Beautiful, beautiful fish. I'm gonna get a quick reel where I release this fish for my Instagram account, Jeff Little Kayak Fishing, and then get back to, I don't know, am I gonna get back to fishing that spot? Like, I'd like to explore and see more of what's out here, but man, it's hard to leave a spot like that. We'll see. So one of the best things that you can do to develop the confidence in the absolute dead stick in summer, when you find a spot where there's a lot of fish, is to find a shallow area where they're regularly cruising through, that you can get stopped on, and hopefully even watch them in clear water with polarized glasses interact with your bait. And don't dead stick it. Move it. It's exciting. They come over, they look at it, they stare at it, and you say, bite, fish. And you get impatient, and then you wiggle it, you move it a little bit, and then they come up and they look at it again, and then they swim away. And they're nearby, and if you're still dead sticking it when they come back, they look at it, they stare at it, and you don't do anything. And then they swim off. And you're like, see, it doesn't work. They do 3, 4 passes, more if they're big fish, usually. Fewer if there's a lot of fish, because they're competitive. They're like, hey, if you're not gonna eat that, maybe I'll eat it. But eventually I see one cruising in. He's not a big one. Eventually, when you watch them, you understand that your moving the bait is a detriment to their eating it. Oh, I can see him right there. All right, I'm in the wrong spot, so I will bring this in. He's not particularly big, but I'd still like to catch him. He's got his back to me. So this is what I'm talking about. In this shallow water, I can see your blacktail most of all. I'm putting that out in front of you, and I get to watch you. You're swimming over, you've turned on it, and you're staring at it. And my job is to not move it. But I'm telling you to move it. Watch fish. Watch fish interact with your bait close to you in the shallows, in summertime, in clear water, and learn that the more you deviate from the dead stick, the fewer fish you catch. He's looking right at it. And it may take him 3 minutes or 5 minutes to decide to eat it, but he will eventually eat it. Watch him. I've let him settle down after catching that last nice one on the mag fatties. Going back in. At some point I do want to get on a moving pattern, but it's hard to leave these fish when they keep reloading at this spot that's between two, one upstream, one downstream, two spots that are deep and don't have current. This is a little bit, it is shallower, outside bend, has current, wood, bedrock meeting chunk rock. And when you dead stick in places like that, the bait sits with its head in one spot, but the top part never stops moving, and that's because of the current. The current is always tickling some part of a finesse jig, even the little tip of the scented jerk shad, or in the case of this this mag fatties. I'm just looking for shapes. Looking for shapes and movement. But have faith. If you put it in the right spot where there are fish, and in summertime they like a little bit of current. Not so much that they got to work, but enough that it lets them respirate, and I don't know. You got to find them. And you find them and dead stick them. And have faith that the subtle action of your bait, especially a Aztec, is going to do everything you need it to do. See the carp? There's smallmouth mixed in there. The big thing is you just see a lot of fish activity in a spot. When I throw my finesse jig in there, you see the smallmouth appear. There's one right there on a little bedrock seam. I don't see him until he moves, but he's right there. And there's a lot of them that just move in and out of this area. I'm not seeing it right now. I actually pulled the camera down just to film them there. There's someone moving. It's easier when they're closer, but this is as close as I wanted to get. But sit and study them. Watch them. See what their paths through the area are and where they sit and just chill. There's one. It's hard to tell if I'm focusing in on where they are with the camera, but hopefully we have one that comes close that I can just lock onto. It's easier when they swim right under me. But they like this area, and it's a horrible angle to look at it because of the reflection of the sky, but they like this little trench here. But they're easy to see when they get up on that bedrock flat right there. All right, the biggest fish hit the smallest bait. We'll come back to that in a second, but I want to let this beautiful 19-inch Tennessee River smallmouth back in the water. So that's the 5-inch scented jerk shad that I had been using, and I switched to the 4, and that's what the big one got. So they've ate the mag fatties, the finesse jig, and then these two, and it's all been right there. The key is dead stick, absolute dead stick, and obviously that I've identified this is a spot they keep moving through. So you're setting a trap, not enticing a bite. Just let it sit there. It helps to have a very sensitive rod, and I got this is the St. Croix Legend Extreme carbon fiber guides, just super lightweight and sensitive. That certainly helps, along with the braid. Let's see if I can catch a few more. I really did see one earlier that I think was 5+, so there's more fish to be caught here. One, oh, there's a big one with it, as usual. Got one on the swim bait. Right. Nice chunky, probably 15.5 incher. And that's exciting to get a moving pattern started. Certainly shade. There's this obstruction. I think it's a grass mat that's on like a bunch of logs and stuff caught up there. But there's current on this side in the shade. Especially in current. You might be a really big one, or you're just really strong. Can't tell which. Just another 18-ish brute. Oh, but you sure look heavier than most of them. Beautiful. That's good. Alright, so I'm almost as far up as I think I want to go today. There's a riffle right there that, I guess Tennessee's south, I gotta say shoulder. But I'm running out of daylight. Not really though. Like it's June, so it's some of the longer days for sure. But I do need to get back and get ready for the install training I'm doing tomorrow. And yeah, 17.5. Yeah, I'm gonna keep fishing this, and then I'm gonna turn around and head back. Thank you, Tennessee smallmouth. There he goes. Catching trout? Why am I catching trout? Go away. Okay. I don't need you. You're supposed to eat flies? All right, it's been a nice day out here. Usually in June, further north where I fish on the Susquehanna, those fish are solidly post-spawn, very difficult to get to eat. You got to downsize. Further south, maybe, you know, they have their recovery a little bit sooner. These fish are definitely in that summertime pattern where they're, you know, they're like shade. They're not necessarily aggressively chasing things all day because it's low and clear, and the dead stick presentation will work. It makes sense for this time of year for you to go out there, find a place where there is an aggregation of fish. Sometimes it's somewhere that it's deeper water because they like the deep water because it's cooler. There's just less light penetration down there. And sometimes it's, you know, it's this bedrock kind of flat on the edge with some wood. I don't know. Different places that they aggregate in different rivers. Find one. Lock onto it. Watch them. Watch them interact with a dead stick presentation. You're going to learn a lot. Get a good pair of polarized sunglasses and just learn by just sit there and watch their body language. See ya.